All right. All this pricing stuff, it really is a bummer. And I'm really not the kind of person who's gonna blindly defend Nintendo. I'm really not. I have made a career out of criticizing Nintendo, but in the case of the whole pricing thing, I don't want to be too quick to judge 100% one way or the other because there is a greater global economic situation going on. So anything that these companies are doing to try to make a little bit more money or whatever, I sort of get it to a degree, and I get that the Switch was really successful, so going into the Switch 2, Nintendo wants to keep making that kind of money. They have investors they need to please, and all that stuff. And I don't want to just immediately say, it's all just it's wrong, it's messed up, it's way too much. I don't want to look at things in such simplistic terms, you know? Usually these kinds of things are fairly complicated. Things are not black and white. And looking at things too simplistically, having too strong of just a knee-jerk emotional reaction that makes you more susceptible to being manipulated and being used, and that creates a lot of problems. You want to look at things with a level head, and so that's why I have not really been just completely condemning Nintendo's actions here with how they're charging for their stuff. $80 for a Mario Kart game? Yeah, that's a lot. I don't want to pay $80 for it. It's a lot. It's a bummer. Sure. But I'm gonna do it. You know, it does still look like a pretty big game. Not all the games are gonna be 80. DK's only 70. Sure, whatever. But man, they got me with this one. They got me right here. I turned on the recorder. I turned on the mic, and I'm talking about it now, so you know they got me. Breath of the Wild. Nintendo is still selling it for $60. Because of course they are, because they never lowered the prices of any Switch 1 games. Okay, yeah, fine. That's the Nintendo tax. I get it. It's kind of a thing. Tears of the Kingdom is $70. So Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 editions are $10 more if you don't have NSO. So, now to play with all the enhancements, Breath of the Wild is now $70 on Switch 2, and Tears of the Kingdom is now $80. Okay, yeah, sure. But yeah, again, it's not so bad if they're giving it away with NSO, blah, blah, blah. Fine. But I just now learned, really about 10 minutes ago, that Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition does not come with the DLC. It does not come with the Breath of the Wild expansion pass, which itself costs $20. And you could argue, and obviously Nintendo will argue, that yeah, but that's extra content. If you were already willing to pay $60 for Breath of the Wild, and if you were already willing potentially to pay $10 to get upgraded to the Switch 2 edition, well then the DLC, it's not even in the conversation, right? It's not even a part of this. If you want that extra content, then of course you still have to pay $20 for that DLC, right? Right? Yeah, there's a logic there, I suppose. But do you, the person listening to this, do you even need me to explain why this is kind of messed up? It is industry standard that when you release a new and definitive version of a game, you include any and all DLC. And in fact, Nintendo has been doing this as well. Any Wii U port, any deluxe version of a game on Switch, they've all gotten the DLC. That's just kind of what you do. in this industry. Now, could it be that they do not feel obligated to do such a thing because a Switch 2 edition isn't really like a whole new version of the game, right? You're not like paying for it all over again, so they shouldn't be obligated to include the DLC. It's really just a little bit of an upgrade, a little bit of a boost. So maybe that's why they feel like it doesn't make sense to just automatically include whatever came in the game. But the real problem here is it's very similar to the whole welcome tour thing, where it's like, yeah, it's not just that we'd have to pay $10 for this game. It's the fact that you're charging for it at all when it really feels like you shouldn't. Because need I remind everyone that Breath of the Wild is now 8 years old. It is old. It was a game available on the first day of the Switch's life. It is such an old game. It has basically been replaced by Tears of the Kingdom. Not like exactly, I know there's a lot of people that prefer Breath of the Wild, but like Tears of the Kingdom is the newer one. It's the same map, but even more features, and with the building mode and everything. Like it's so much more game. And the original, it's 8 years old, and it's so much less game. It's already ridiculous to still be charging $60 for it. But now, to expect people, if you want to get the definitive version of Breath of the Wild running on Switch 2 with all the new stuff, it's gonna be $90. $90. Not even a hair has been shaved off of that price. Not a smidge, not a cent, not a single solitary cent has been removed from that original MSRP. You are paying $59.99 plus $19.99 plus $9.99 for the privilege of playing it all on the Switch 2, this super duper old game. There is no desire whatsoever to save the customer even a tiny, tiny little bit of money when they're paying for this all as a complete package. Not a single bit. So again, I get it. They're in kind of a bind right now. Money might be tight. They might be losing some of the profit from sales in the US. I get it, but it's little things like this that really do just feel bad. And even if I'm willing to be a little bit flexible with most of this pricing stuff, willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, I really don't think it's just Nintendo, being greedy. We see it again and again with the other big companies. They succeed one generation and they get a big head, and they fail the next generation because they get greedy, and then they bounce back and forth, and yeah, that is a thing. I have tried not to believe that that's what's gonna happen to Nintendo. They're gonna let the success go to their head, and then they think they can just get away with anything. This is gross though. It just is. It's too far. It really just is. It's a big game, sure. It's just too old. That's it. I don't know. Nintendo doesn't like the idea that a game loses value simply by being old. They don't like that. That makes them grumpy. That's why they kind of just pretend like it's not true. That's why they just keep their games at maximum price forever. I get it. And as long as those games still sell, then yeah, you could argue that those games are worth that price. I mean, any product is worth precisely as much as people will pay for it. So ultimately, I have to admit, if they end up selling a bunch of copies of Breath of the Wild on Switch 2, or at least a bunch of upgrade packs or whatever, then there you go. They didn't need to include the DLC. They're charging just the right amount for this game. But I can at least just come right here. I can turn on my microphone and complain to y'all that I think it's gross. And somehow it's easier for me to take paying $80 for Mario Kart, even though like no other video game has ever like been that much in recent times. You know, things have been fairly standard. 70 was like the, are you kidding me? 70, that's way too much. Now 80, that should have me angry. That should have me freaking out. And yet somehow it's not. Somehow it's this. It's charging $90 for the full Breath of the Wild experience 8 years later. Sure, it's upgraded for Switch 2. Sure, it's got the extra features and whatnot. Sure, it is a complete game and the DLC was really just extra or whatever. It's not like if you don't get the DLC, you're not getting the full thing. But like really kind of, yes, you are getting the whole thing if you get the DLC. Just to charge that much. After so many years, you can't throw us a bone. Not just the tiniest little bone. You can't. You absolutely just can't. Even when it would make a big difference. Even when we're already hurting for money. We're already hurting. We're looking at our bank accounts and we're looking at all these Switch 2 games and we're kind of freaking out. Boy, it would have made a big difference if you just thrown us a bone here. But it's just kind of like, it's proof that like, no. The days of Nintendo throwing bones may very well be over. If they're charging this much for this, and they're charging $10 for Welcome Tour, it may be that, like, I don't know, will there ever be another Nintendo product that is ever released that makes us go, hey, that's a good deal. You know, that's a good value right there. Is that just like, nope, no more. You get to play games for quote-unquote free on NSO. Sure. But beyond that, like that's the only quote unquote freebie, but feeling that games are worth the price is just, it's just not gonna happen anymore. I don't know. I mean, really nobody knows how this whole situation is gonna shake out or what the future looks like for Nintendo. Really could be they're just trying to get on top of things because they sense that things are not gonna get better anytime soon. So maybe this is just what everybody in the industry is gonna have to do. I don't know. But I don't like it. It makes me grumpy. So I'm gonna turn this microphone off and send the file to Kane so he can edit it, and then he'll give it back to me, and then tomorrow I'll watch it, and if it's good, I'll upload it, and he'll make a thumbnail, and then you'll watch it, and then that'll be the end of that.